Hi, welcome to Ingvid. I'm Adam. In today's video, I want to talk to you about flight safety. But more specifically, I want to tell you about the things you're going to hear from the flight attendants on the plane. Before you land, before you take off, etc. You know how they stand in front of all the seats, they stand in the aisle and they make that whole show. Like everything is on video now, but they still stand there. They put the vest on, they put the tube, the oxygen, and they tell you where the emergency exits are, and you have to pay attention to all that. So if you're not sure exactly what they're saying, I'm going to go over some of the vocabulary today that you're going to hear during that speech. Okay, we're going to start with fasten your seatbelt. You're going to probably hear this quite a few times during the flight because they want you to be safe. They want you to be in your seat with your seatbelt fastened. Now, fastened means closed together, tightly, securely, right? So how do you do that? You have your belt, which is actually the strap that goes around, the black part, and then you have the buckle. This is the metal part where you actually close it. The two pieces are the fittings. So the one fitting goes into the other fitting. You hear a click, and then you know it's closed, and then you can lift the tab to open it. Okay, so that's what it means to fasten your seatbelt. It means put it on, put it tight, be safe. Now, the reason you might hear it a few times is because your plane might go through some turbulence. So if you're not sure what that means, sometimes you're on the plane and everything's, quiet and there's that hum of the engines, and then suddenly the plane starts shaking like this and you get all scared. Not a big deal. Turbulence is just basically unsteady air movement. The air outside is not flowing in a stream. It's a little bit shaky. So the plane's a little bit shaky. It's perfectly safe, nothing to worry about, okay? But, just in case they have to make an emergency landing, they have to come down because something happened, maybe the engine blew up or there's fire on board. So they have to land and they want you to evacuate the plane. To evacuate means to leave a place that's dangerous to go through somewhere safe. Now, this is not only on airplanes. If you live in a building or you work in a building and it's on fire, the police department will come and they will evacuate everybody. They will get everybody out and get them to a safe place. On a plane, that means just getting away from the plane. Now, how do you evacuate? So usually, because if they do an emergency landing, it's not at an airport, so they don't have the stairs or they don't have the gangway. Sorry, I should have put this one on here. The gangway is that, that hall that when you come off the plane, you have that hall until you get into the building. So they don't have that, they don't have stairs. So they're going to use an inflatable slide. Okay. Inflatable means that it can be filled up with air. So that life vest that you're going to put on, if you land on water, you put on that yellow life vest. That's also inflatable. It means it can be filled with air. You can inflate it. The verb to inflate, to fill with air. So they will have this big slide that's full of air, and you jump on it, you slide, you get off the plane, you run. Now, what might also happen with an emergency landing is that the cabin will decompress. The cabin is the space where you're sitting, and it will decompress, means the air pressure, they adjust the air pressure to be like outside. It will decompress, it will lose all the pressure, and you won't be able to breathe. You might have a major headache, etc. And then the oxygen masks will fall from above you. And you put these on and you just breathe like normal, get oxygen, be okay until the landing, okay? So these are all like cases of emergency and safety, but there are a few other words that you need to know to understand that they will say in their speech. Let's look at those. So we're going to continue on the emergency situations. Hopefully this never happens, but they tell you, again, they have to tell you all these things in the safety speech. So if you're about to crash or if there's going to be an emergency landing, they want you to brace for impact. Impact is basically when you touch the ground, right? So brace, basically they want you to put your hands over your head and put them between your knees and get ready. So to brace is to support. It could also mean to lean. So you lean against the front seat, you brace, you get ready for that impact. Okay, so that's brace. Then there's a life vest, that yellow thing, with a tube. You can blow into it. You can fasten the belts on it, etc. Sometimes it's called a life jacket. It'll be under the seat where you're sitting. Now, before you land, or before landing and before takeoff, they will say, please turn off all electronic devices. So that devices are basically tools or machines. Phones, iPads, iPods, laptops, tablets, anything electronic, turn it off. Once you've hit cruising altitude, you can turn everything back on. We're going to talk about that in a second. Now, they also tell you do not tamper with. So if you're a smoker and you get on an airplane, just get used to not smoking for the length of the flight, okay? You're not allowed to smoke on the plane. If you go to the lavatory, which is the washroom, the toilet, if you go to the lavatory thinking you can smoke there, nobody will notice. They have alarms and sensors. They will know that there's smoke and the alarms will go off, okay? The sensors will pick up the smoke, the alarms will sound, you will be arrested. And they also tell you, do not tamper with or disable the alarms in the washroom. Tamper with means basically make any changes to, manipulate, right? So try to turn it off so it doesn't ring or doesn't connect, or disable, turn off. So tamper with, make changes to in a bad way, disable, turn off in the lavatories. Cruising altitude. This is the height that the plane will be at for most of the flight, okay? The plane takes off, goes up, it gets to this height, and this is the height it's going to stay at until it's close to the destination, right? That's the cruising altitude. Altitude, height, cruising, travel. Then, once they reach cruising altitude, they say, okay, the fasten seatbelt sign goes off. You can take it off, but it doesn't matter because you can't go anywhere. And then they will start serving the complimentary drinks. Complimentary, free. Of course, you paid a lot of money for the plane ticket, so I don't know if you can really call it free, but they call it free, complimentary, compliments of the airline. When you're about to land, they will tell you, please put your seats and tray tables in an upright position. So you have your seat, maybe you press a button and you're leaning back, and you have the table in front of you, you're working on your computer, or maybe you're having a snack. Before landing, press a button, sit back straight up, put the table straight up, upright position, up, down, straight, safer, okay? So now you're ready to fly anywhere you go. When they give you that little speech, the flight attendants are standing there, the video is going, you know exactly what they're saying, you're ready for anything. Hopefully, none of it matters, except the seatbelt. Just put it there in case, because sometimes the turbulence can actually shake you quite a bit. So, if you have any questions about any of these words, please go to ingvid.com. There's a quiz. You can test your knowledge of the words. You can also ask questions. I'll be happy to give you answers. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at all the other videos around. There's lots of helpful tips for all kinds of travel purposes. And come back again soon. See us again. Bye-bye.